Well, good morning and thank you for joining us for Constituency Watch. And we're doing this in the run-up to the NDC's primaries. And just like we indicated in other editions, when it comes to the 10 of the other parties, notably the NPP will do same as well. And we know that there's in the latter part of the year, the NDC will be convening the primaries for the parliamentary candidates as well as the presidential candidates same day and across various, designated points across the regions of our country. And, last week we brought you the Ablekuma West debate. It featured prominent individuals who are leading contenders for that primary that will be taking place on the 13th of May 2023. Today, we're in the Ningo Prampram constituency. And, we also extended invitation to the leading contenders for the primaries for Ningo Prampram. And Sam George, as well as Michael Tete Quitty, were all given invitations. Now, as part of the running order for the segment, we agree with the individuals, and that agreement is also a condition for them to appear in studio based on an interaction with their leading delegates within the constituency. This is what we found out when we visited the Ningo Prampram constituency, spoke to some delegates as well as residents.
The incumbent member of parliament for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, is seeking to retain the ticket to represent the National Democratic Congress, NDC, in the 2024 general elections. He is being contested by Michael Quitty Tete. In 2020, Michael Quitty Tete lost by 7 votes in a fierce contest with Sam George, who won by 407 votes as against 400 votes obtained by Michael Quitty Tete. Some delegates in the constituency openly declared their support for both candidates.
I choose Michael over Sam George as at now because I weigh Honorable Sam George for almost 2 terms. And I realize that though he's vocal, he can talk, but on the ground, you only see a little to show.
Patapio wanenoko pure wangela ne makeba ko vote halo wa yuto ke wa how me cannot fear no nugo Prampram constituency e ba wa no wa yang.
And the reason I'm voting for Michael, see that he have also suffered a lot, and in fact we have said that no, he also have a vision to deliver to the constituency. So we also want to try him. If he comes and he fails, we also take him out.
Delegates have a choice, and their ultimate choice is Honorable Sam George, because he's a man with integrity. He's a man who, he listens to the delegates. He's down to earth. Some people can have other views about him, but those who are close to him, we know who he is. We know his caliber. We know he's a man who is very sober. He listens to advice.
Sam George is someone who has done it before. And when he's given more chance, he can do more. As compared to someone who hasn't been there before.
I'm voting for him because he has the track record. And before you vote for somebody, it is a track record that would let you know that this person is the best candidate over the other. The other candidate has a track record of failure. The other candidate, we don't see him as an NDC person. If you're an NDC person, anything that the party does in the constituency, you have to be part of it. It is not when it is time for you to get something from the people, that is when you come on board to say that you've done this, you've done that.
Since 1992, the Ningo Prampram constituency has been a safe seat for the NDC, with Enoch Mensah serving as Member of Parliament for 4 terms. Enoch Mensah was, however, defeated in his bid to lead the party for the 5th time by Sam George in 2015. As the NDC parliamentary primaries draw closer, both candidates are confident of emerging victorious. May 13 will be the decider. Joseph Armstrong, Good, TV3, Ningo Prampram.
And a former member of parliament and also a member of the Council of State, Enoch Mensah, did serve 5 terms. Well, so we extended invitation to the 2 leading contenders the incumbent Sam Nate George, and then also his opponents who also contested him in the last primaries. And Michael Tete Quitty, well, he decided after, well, his own decision not to appear today, but we did have an interaction with all of them in the filming of what the wrap-up will be for the constituency. This is what he decided to say.
Somewhere last year, I presented myself to the party again at the regional level. I wanted to become the regional chairman, but many people in Ningo Prampram were not happy with that decision. Are you getting it? And so today I'm finally here, and I believe this time around they will give me the nod.
So there's an MP. People are saying he's just barely 2 terms, so you should just let him go again.
Yes, 2 terms means 8 years, and 8 years in political life is a long time. The number of years really doesn't matter. It is measurable by the performance. The people are saying that he has come for the past 2 terms, 8 years, and they are not saying anything, so he has to go and rest.
People are saying, what are you saying?
But that is the truth. Don't forget that I also live in Ningo Prampram. I've never lived outside Ningo Prampram before. So what the people are saying is true, that Honorable has been on for the past 8 years and he has not done anything. He cannot pinpoint to anything that he has done.
Finally, what new will you do? What are your plans for Ningo Prampram if you are given the nod?
Well, I will not be telling you what. I'm not Nana Akufo-Addo. President Akufo-Addo is the one who will give a lot of promises but cannot fulfill them. I am one person that I have been with them and I've been doing a lot for the people of Ningo Prampram. When we are done with the interview, go to Afenya police station, you see my name on it. That one alone is monumental. Other things I have done, if you go to Ningo, I have put up a huge storage facility that I'm donating to the police administration for them to use as their regional headquarters. That one too is 90% complete. If you go to Dowenya police station, I've also floored everything that you see there. I've provided all their air conditioners for them. And I've done a lot of other things. If you go to Panchemdo, they used to fight over water with animals. I have provided them with a borehole with a huge tank facility. Tank. I'm not the one to even talk to the delegates because this is Ningo Prampram. And like I told you, somewhere last year, I presented myself to the party at the regional level. The delegates in Ningo Prampram were not happy with that decision. So this one, it is their own decision that I should be back, and I'm back for them.
Well, so Michael decided not to honor the invitation. And of course, we've seen a disclaimer he's put on his Facebook page as well. Officially, we would like to say that as a production team for TV3 New Day, he was given an invitation. He said he would appear based on what the words from his aides were to Armstrong Gold Alogbe. Subsequently decided that he will not honor the invitation. We, however, have Sam George. Sam Nate George is an incumbent member of parliament. He decided to honor the invitation. And as part of the series looking at various constituencies, I have to say, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And let me ask you, your opponent says that you have done nothing for the constituency. What would you say has been your achievement since you became a member of parliament for Ningo Prampram?
Roland, if I were to start elucidating the infrastructural or human capital interventions that we have done in Ningo Prampram, I'm sure we could go on for another 3 hours or more in 6 years. But I always hold the view that the test of every member of parliament, your scorecard is the pink sheet that you get after every 4 years when you go to the general elections. If you invest in the lives of people, and I'm guided by the 2008 manifesto slogan of the NDC, building a better Ghana, investing in people, opportunities for all. And I'm investing in Ningo Prampram, building a better Ningo Prampram and investing in the people. If you looked at 2015, when I took over as the parliamentary candidate of the NDC Ningo Prampram, people say Ningo Prampram is a safe seat. We were leading the NPP by only 3,000 votes. 3,000 votes. In 1 year, in 2016, as parliamentary candidate, we galvanized the base, irrespective of all the internal fractions and all of that, increased our margin of victory to 10,000 votes. We beat the NPP by 10,000 votes in 1 year. That is my scorecard. That's my track record. And that's because of the work we did in the people. In my first term, 4 years in office, after investing in the people of Ningo Prampram, education, healthcare, human capital development, livelihood empowerment, social intervention, security. What did we see in the general elections? We moved our margin from 10,000. We beat the NPP with a margin of 30,000 votes. We had the single largest jump in votes increase in the whole country in 2020. You understand me? And so for me, a child goes to school and you can tell that child is learning based on the report card he comes home with. An MP goes to parliament, invests in his people, you see it in the scorecard, because the only way people can thank you for the interventions you make in their life is by coming out to vote for you. We did that. We've increased the margin. There are some constituencies where the total voters register is less than 30,000. The margin of victory over the NPP in 4 years of my first term has been 30,000. I think that we've done that. We've put over 250 people on the MP scholarship. We've set up over 112 people in MP's livelihood support programs. Just last September, we bought 2,000 street lights at a value of 1.5 million Ghana cedis to improve security in the constituency, because it's a fast-growing constituency, and a lot of farmlands are becoming housing settlements, and security was becoming a problem. We distributed the first 1,000 street lights. The next 1,000 street lights will follow. We have bought motorbikes. We've done over 50 motorbikes for the police to help them with night patrols and quick rapid response. We provided 2 pickups to the police service, an Isuzu and a Nissan Navara pickup. We have serviced a number of the police vehicles in the constituency. When it comes to healthcare, when COVID struck, I was the first responder in Ningo Prampram. I responded to the COVID crisis in Ningo Prampram to the Health Directorate even before I sent in the first line of support to Ningo Prampram 3 weeks before the government of Ghana was able to send anything to them. I was in the front line making sure that my people were protected. When security personnel were sent into Ningo Prampram, on a daily basis, I provided 200 hot meals. It didn't cost me 53 million like it did the Akufo-Addo government, but I provided 200 hot meals every day for a month in Ningo Prampram to security personnel, just to make sure that we're taking care of healthcare providers. We're giving palliatives from my end. And so when it comes to the kinds of things we've done in Ningo Prampram, education, I mean, we've distributed over 10,000 bags of cement towards the upgrade of educational infrastructure in the constituency. I have literally refurnished all kindergarten classrooms in the constituency, because I went there and I saw kids sitting on blocks. And so what we've tried to do was to put in proper plastic chairs, for these kids and give them learning aids. We've done quite a lot of work. Water, we've dug dams, we've given fertilizer, we've given over 5,000 bags of fertilizer in the constituency to farmers, we've given boom sprayers to them. I mean, like I said, if I was to now drill down to the nitty-gritties, when it comes to the traditional authorities, whether it is Kledomi or Homowo or Ngolwa that we do with the families, we've been right and center with our traditional councils, making sure that the traditional councils have a better place of a more conducive environment, air conditioners and all of that, even for the police service as well, and fire service, ambulance. We've basically touched every facet, and that's what has accounted in increasing the margin from 3,000 to 30,000.
A key consideration, because of the fast development of Ningo Prampram as a peri-urban, because we have the urban Tema metropolitan area now almost having just a thin line by way of its borders with Ningo Prampram constituency. It's fast becoming a residential as well as an industrial enclave. What about roads? How are you facilitating as a member of parliament to ensure that roads, especially in Ningo town itself, are constructed?
Well, Roland, let me state clearly here that one of the key things I've always been very loud about is that MPs must be careful the kinds of promises they make when it comes to infrastructure. As a member of parliament, I know that when we make the Appropriations Act, we do not appropriate monies for road construction or any such infrastructure to MPs. They go to the sector ministers. But as a member of parliament, you have a responsibility to lobby to ensure that roads are constructed. Under this government, and let's be clear, we've been very critical as the NDC of this MPP government that it has failed to deliver any tangibles when it comes to infrastructure, especially roads. The performance has been quite abysmal. However, despite the fact that their performance has been abysmal, I've been able to secure over 40 kilometers of roads that have been completed in Ningo Prampram. And just on the 13th of April, I have 2 letters here which I can share with you. 13th of April, signed on the 13th of April, approval to procure works. One of them is on the Dowenya and Yamam Road, and this is as a result of the lobbying that we've been doing. In fact, the roads minister is on record when he appeared before the Public Accounts Committee to say that I have been one of his biggest pests, because everywhere I see him, I have a list of roads that I repeat to him like a nursery school rhyme. And he said to the hearing of the whole country that I don't give him rest. But most importantly, we got a 113.9 million Ghana cedi approval for the Dowenya Junction to Onyamam Road, Lot 1. And then on the Lot 2, we also got 73.3 million Ghana cedis approved. So just barely 10 days ago, or 10, 15 days ago, we got further approval for another almost 38 kilometers of road in Ningo Prampram, totaling 211 million Ghana cedis. This is Sam George, whose party is not in government, but simply based on our lobbying skills, we're getting this. And I'm grateful to the minister for finally exceeding. It's taking us almost 3 years to get these approvals. But if you look at the Mango Chonya, that were all the way through Lekbouno to Mango Chonya, that was done, completed under my term. As we speak, the contractor is back on the road from Old Ningo to Mango Chonya through Ahiam. We've seen the work that started from Anglican Junction all the way through to Bone Barrier. We've seen the work that was done from New Jerusalem to Apollonia. There's upgrade work going on from the Chopoli to Pantredo Road. Yeah, so there is still need for more roads. But I mean, this Akufo-Addo government has been abysmal. But even in their failure to do any concrete work, I've been able to secure a fair share for Ningo Prampram.
A considerable aspect of the work of Parliament is to ensure that you create the enabling environment, and also you are in a very good relationship with your constituency executives as well as traditional authority.
Yeah.
How have you been able to do that?
Well, I think I have a fantastic working relationship with my constituency executives. I think we have, 30 of them? There's supposed to be 30 of them, either 30 or 29, I think. 30 of them, if you look at the co-opted members as well, or 28, 23 elected and then 5 co-opted, 28. If you look at the 28, I think that I have a fantastic working relationship with everybody. In fact, the party sets out the rules that no organ of the party must endorse a candidate, but individuals are allowed to endorse a candidate. Of the 28 constituency executives in Ningo Prampram, 25 of them have openly endorsed my candidature. I mean, if I was a student, I think that is about a 98, 99%. That's an A star. So if you have 25 of my constituency executives endorsing my candidature, that will be a solid position. Again, when it comes to the Ningo Traditional Council and Prampram Traditional Council, I have a fantastic working relationship with them. And I just want to use this opportunity to say, express my utmost gratitude to Nene Tetewaka III, who is the paramount chief of Prampram Traditional Area, and to Nene Banahini III, who is the acting president of the Ningo Traditional Council, and the entire Traditional Council, for the constant prayers, support, and guidance that they give to me. I mean, there is no time I have reached out to them that they have been difficult to reach, and I've also been very willing to support them as and when the need arises.
As part of our interactions today, we decided also to go and pick up intelligence. And one of the key difficulties that residents have, either coming in as new residents, not necessarily indigents of Ningo Prampram, but also just as residents who have bought properties, are land litigations. How do you intend collaborating further based on what you have done since you occupied this position for the second term running, to further improve that relationship as far as land litigation with traditional authorities are related?
Land litigation is a major issue there. I mean, as a fast-growing industrial and residential area, land litigation has been a major thing. One thing I've tried to do as Member of Parliament is stay away from land litigation. A number of cases have come to me. What I try to do, again, because like most of the Ga area, land does not reside in the traditional council or in traditional authority. Land, the title to land or ownership of land resides in clans and families. What you have is a lot of dispute between families on boundary issues. A typical classic example is B5, which I've always stated, and I state publicly because it's the truth. B5 bought land in 2015 before I became Member of Parliament and could not go on the land for 2 years until 2017 when he met with me and raised the issue with me. And I met Nene Lakpleku and the head of that family, SK Lakpleku, who are fantastic gentlemen and who understood the need for us to have a certain settlement. Thanks to the Lakpleku family, that matter was resolved. B5 has put up the biggest steel plant in West Africa in an $80 million facility. He employs 2,000 people, 1,650 of the 2,000 people are my constituents. So when people stand and say that Sam George has not done anything, in just one factory alone, 1,650 young men and women in Ningo Prampram have gotten employment there. And there are several factories I can mention that we have been of support to that have employed our young people when it comes to providing job opportunities within the constituency for them. But I think that the Lands Commission needs to do a lot more work in regularizing the boundaries of the family lands. And I believe that if we were able to deal more holistically with the family disputes, we'll attract better development and investment into the constituency.
In addition to this, key issues that have been raised by residents of Ningo Prampram constituency, and it's related to issues of neighborhood or community security. How do you intend strengthening community security in collaboration with the security agencies going forward?
I have a fantastic relationship with the police service in my constituency. In fact, one of the things I've spoken to the Minister for Interior about is for a new region to be created outside of Tema region, because Tema region covers the whole of Tema through Ashiaman all the way to Adan. And I hold the view that if you look at the population growth in Ningo Prampram and going towards Adan and Sege, we should have another region, police administrative region set up there that could be headquartered in Ningo Prampram constituency. That would look at Shayo Sudoku, Ningo Prampram, Bon Katamanso, Adan and Sege. The 5 constituencies could be a police administrative region. But what we've done so far is to, for example, during the distribution of street lights, I reached out to the divisional commander in Ningo, in Prampram and Afenya. And my constituency is so huge, I have 2 divisional commanders. I've got the Afenya division and I've got the Prampram division. So I've got 2 divisions in the constituency. Both commanders, I reached out to them and asked them to give me a list of areas that were poorly lit that they thought we needed to improve lighting in. When they did, we provided them all the street lights for those areas. We've provided high-performance motorbikes to the police as well. In fact, the regional commander at the time, the Tema regional commander, was the one who came in to cover. TV3 carried that presentation. And we've provided them that for night patrols. And I've gotten several calls from constituents who are grateful because at night you see these police patrols on motorbikes going there. The high-performance vehicles they have, the pickups, and the Land Cruiser vehicles that the police have in the constituency are quite old. But what I've constantly done is to carry out maintenance of these vehicles to ensure that the police is able to respond rapidly. What we have also tried to do is to set up neighborhood watch committees. And for example, if you go to the area, the Abe area, we have Mr. Paddy, who is the head of the Neighborhood Watch Committee. I mean, a solid gentleman who has mobilized the young people to ensure that they deal with the issues and instances of robbery in there. One of the biggest problems we have in Ningo Prampram, which the police administration has drawn my attention to, is even when they do sting operations and arrest people, especially foreigners from our neighboring African countries who are engaged in illegal activity and do not have the requisite immigration documents. When they hand them over to the immigration authorities and they send them to court, in the next 2 months, you see them back in the community. So I think that the coordination between the immigration service and our court systems to make sure that persons who are engaged in illegal activities in our communities that are picked up by police and handed over to the law enforcement agencies, the right things are done, and then they don't find their way back, filtering back into our communities. But we have a fantastic working relationship with the police service. There have been times I've done night patrols with the police service myself as a member of parliament. I've joined them to do night patrols to just ensure that, just as a way of boosting morale and making sure that the police authority is well engaged. My current district commander is also doing quite a good job at mobilizing his men. Some
of the key considerations and concerns of the constituents, as we picked up, were that there were a number of industries within the constituency.
Yeah.
And creating of the enabling environment is important, but also they need the jobs that could be also offered for indigents of Ningo Prampram as well as residents. While it is not your main job to do, what sort of collaboration have you been and discussions have you been undertaking that could inure to the creation of some level of jobs for indigents as well as those who come in as residents?
Well, it's an ongoing conversation that I'm holding with a lot of the owners of local manufacturing industries that are set up in the constituency. I'd previously given you the example of B5 that is currently operating at just about 33% of his capacity. And even at that, he's employed 2,000 people. Out of the 2,000 people he's employed in that steel factory, 1,650 are constituents from Ningo Prampram. I could give you an example of Fabrimetal. Fabrimetal employs over 300 young people from the Ningo Prampram constituency. Atlantic Life Sciences, at the last check, employs over 400 young people from Ningo Prampram constituency. You can talk about Alpha T&D, the biggest smart meters manufacturers in West Africa, also employing over 300 people from the constituency. So we're doing quite a good amount of work with industries there. We can get better. Again, it comes back to the skill set that some of these industries need and the availability and unavailability of those. And don't forget that because Tema and Ashaman have been host to industries for a much longer period, you have people who are resident in those areas who have ready skill sets. So what we're trying to do now is to engage these industries to carry out corporate social responsibility by way of training local capacity in the higher level management and mid-management roles that are available. Again, we're talking to the owners of Mrs. LMI Holding, the owners of the Dawa Industrial Enclave, and they have assured us that they're setting up a training school because the Dawa Industrial Enclave is a 2,000 free economic zone, just like the free zones enclave in Tema that is being built over there. And every factory that's going to come in there, as part of the agreement with the owners of the Dawa Industrial Enclave, there's supposed to be a local component training, and they're supposed to have a school that will give technical skills training to the young people in my constituency. So we're doing a lot of work. In the hospitality area, a good number of the hotels that you see, from Latour to the Palms, to Awo's Lodge, I mean, all of them, City Escape, have local components in there. We're trying to see how well we can get it better.
Now, one of the things that also need to be done is to improve the level of the educational institutions.
Absolutely.
And so make sure that they get to the standards that are befitting the peri-urban area, now enveloping into become an urban area. How has that been done since you came into office this very term?
Well, especially looking at second cycle institutions, you have NINSEC and PRAMSEC, Ningo Senior High Technical School, and then the Prampram Senior High School. Both schools predate me, but in the short time I've been there, I managed to get a multipurpose hall built for the Prampram Senior High School, and the contract was awarded just before the NDC left office when I was parliamentary candidate. And most gratitude goes to Mr. Sam Garba, who was grateful enough then as head of GetFund to approve that contract when I reached out to him. Today, that's what's used as the dining and assembly hall for the Prampram Senior High School. There were 3 school blocks that were started by my predecessor, Honorable E.T. Mensah, that had stalled GetFund projects in the Ningo Senior High School. There are things that I have worked through Honorable Napo, Matthew Poko Prempe, and subsequently the current minister, especially his deputy, Honorable Intim Fojo, to be able to get approvals and completion payments done to the contractors. And now those blocks have been handed over to the school to use. We've provided computers, we've provided sewing machines. For example, in 2020, if my memory serves me right, either 2020 or 2021, when the students were about to write WASI, they didn't have sewing machines, industrial sewing machines, for the WASI home science practicals. were told about this in 48 hours. We provided them both schools. We provided them what they needed. There's still challenges in there. We've dealt with water situations in Ningo Senior High School. We've dealt with security situations in Ningo and Prampram Senior High School, street lights. We've done quite a number of work there. There's still a lot of work there. As we speak right now, there are challenges with furniture in the two schools. We're trying to see what the district assembly can do and what we as also can be able to mobilize. When it comes to education and what we do for people, we've supported kids from the constituency to senior high school and to the university. And people say, oh, there's free SHS. But when the parents are given the prospectus, many of them are unable to provide for the kids, And at times, at the last, just the recent opening of school, we did almost 200,000 Ghana cedis in support for just senior high schools, because you did about 200 people who came and said, our kids have been given prospectus, and everybody got about 1,000 Ghana cedis as the MP support to enable them buy the materials for their kids to go to school. When it comes to the university, we've paid for over 215 people to go to the university, both at the master's level and undergraduate level. We support some of them with not just tuition fee, but even accommodation, because many of them are unable to even pay for their accommodation. And so we do all of that to help improve the standard. When it comes to the basic schools, like I said to you, we've done furnishing of the basic schools, most of the kindergartens in there. As we speak right now, next week, I think we should be commissioning a 4-unit classroom block. That's a kindergarten block that we built that is supposed to decongest one of the existing kindergarten classrooms in Ahiam. If you go to the Dawenya school, for example, you realize that we've done reading corners where we've got books and reading cabinets put in there. And I set up the Jata Foundation, which is run by a team of professionals. And what the Jata Foundation is doing, I know that the foundation is about to roll out the reading exercise across the whole constituency, because what they've been able to do is, through our partners in the UK, we've been able to get about 3,000 books that are going to come into the constituency. The books have just arrived. Right now, I think what the foundation is trying to do is to get the cabinets built in the various classrooms so that in every school and every classroom there's a book, because what we want to do is improve the reading culture of the kids, because if the kids begin to read more and you make it exciting, and then we have reading sessions, the district education director just sent a letter saying that they needed support for this year's reading exercise. That's going to be done. I know the foundation is looking to partner Safari Valley in Edukrom to take the kids on reading excursions, eco-friendly reading excursions. So there are quite a number of things in that area that we're doing, that we're working on, we've done already, and that we're still looking to do.
Now, let's come down to the delegates, because they will be the final deciders.
Absolutely.
What is your promise of making sure you better your term and your value proposition to them for them to give you the nod or not?
Roland, I think that even my opponent, if he were to be honest with himself, will tell you that I've been a fantastic MP. And this is not me blowing my own trumpet. When it comes to the primary core responsibility of a member of parliament, representing his people and being a voice for his people, people are even shocked that I've not done even, I'm just about completing my second term. But we've been at the vanguard and forefront of many of the policy issues in this country, be it from the closure of radio stations, which affected jobs, some of them my constituents, to the issues of SIM cards, to issues of the protection of our water bodies. We've been a vocal voice in this, to the current bill that I have presented, the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill. We have been a proper voice of advocacy on the floor of the House for the people of Ningo Prampram. I can pledge and commit that I would continue to do the work I do even better than I have done it. And I know my delegates know it. Look, Roland, it's not for nothing that in 2019, 2020, and 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, I was ranked the 3rd best member of parliament. And in 2022, I was ranked the best member of parliament. As we speak, if it was boxing, I'll have the title in my house. I'm currently the current ranked best member of parliament by facts, who've been doing this for over 12 years. And so if in the last 4 years, I've been in the top 3, it tells you that we're doing something right. And so to be ranked as the overall best member of parliament, and I mean, when it comes to the international recognitions, there are quite many. I mean, I've gotten a congressional award from the US Congress. I've been invited to speak at international platforms because of the advocacy work that we do on the floor of the Ghanaian parliament. And for me, I know that the delegates in Ningo Prampram know that they have an advocate who has reach and who has the kinds of connections when in the next NDC government to ensure that we attract the best form of development that the Mahama administration, the next Mahama administration will bring to bear in 2025.
How are you going to ensure that delegates within the NDC and then also members as well as sympathizers also have their due by way of recognition when the next 4 years comes and you are voted or not?
Well, I'm confident I'm going to be voted, and I'm confident that the delegates are minded that you can only entrust leadership to someone who knows what he's about. Leadership, the true mark of a leader is that he knows what he wants to be able to deliver what the people he leads or serves need. I mean, when you look at the two candidates in this race, I've been a constituency branch communication officer in the constituency for 4 years. I completed my 4-year term, and then I was given the opportunity to serve as member of parliament, which I've been doing. When you look at the opposite number, I mean, he was elected as a branch chairman for 4 years. He served 4 months and resigned. Said he wanted to become constituency secretary. The delegates were kind enough, elected him as constituency secretary for 4 years. After 1 year, 1 month, he resigned and decided to contest Honorable E.T. Mensah. When he contested Honorable E.T. Mensah in 2011, he lost that primaries, defected from the NDC, went to the NDP, became the parliamentary candidate in 2012, lost again in that election, came back to the NDC in 2014, was disqualified as constituency chairman, came back in 2015, was disqualified as constituency chairman. In 2016, when I was the candidate and the whole NDC, and that's why one of the vox pops she played said we have never seen him in the constituency. When I was the candidate of the NDC in 2016, and we were working actively to raise the votes of the NDC, he was preaching skirt and blouse. His mantra was no 9, no 10. You know, that he was, when President Mahama, then sitting president, came to Afenya to launch the campaign, he was nowhere to be found. He came back in 2018 and said he wanted to be constituency chairman. The delegates were kind enough once again, very, very magnanimous to vote for him as constituency chairman. They made him constituency chairman for 4 years. 1 year, 3 months, he resigned again and said he was contesting me in 2019. I beat him in 2020. He was nowhere to be found on the campaign trail. Just last year, he said he wanted to be regional chairman. He lost that vote because people looked at his track record of not completing any task that the party has given to him. He's a flippant person. He's a flippant character. He's unable to complete a task that you give to him. People want an MP they know will sit in parliament for 4 years and deliver for them. I think the only 2 positions left in the NDC that he's yet to contest is flag bearer and women's organizer. But I have always kept my focus. And the people of Ningo Prampram know that Sam George is a safe hands. And when Sam George says we're going to deliver 100,000 votes, we did Operation 50,000, we delivered in the last election, now we're going to do Operation 100,000. I am a safe pair of hands. I'm a man who delivers. I'm a man who has shown them that we could take a seat that became threatened to becoming an extremely safe seat. Today, he's confident that he wants to become MP because he thinks that there's a buffer of 30,000 votes. Who created that buffer? It was me, by the hard work. And we know the road. They say follow who know road. And so for me, the delegates in Ningo Prampram know that at the end of the day, my fidelity to the NDC, my loyalty to the NDC is unquestionable. I have at no point in time turned my back to the NDC. I have laid down my life, literally laid down my life in Ayawaso West Wagon for the NDC. The delegates of the NDC know that. I have been in the vanguard of every agitation that the minority has led in parliament to hold this recalcitrant, despotic Akufo-Addo government to account. They know that they want a voice in Ningo Prampram. Parliament is about debates. And if you're going to pick someone who's going to debate for you, and even in the studio, with 2 people and 1 host, not the speaker, he's not going to struggle to catch your eye because you would have regulated it and giving him. He runs away from a debate of 2 people. How then is he going to represent the people of Ningo Prampram in a debate where there are 275 members of parliament who are jostling for the scarce development opportunities that will come in? I mean, if this is a testament of what his abilities are, he can't hold a debate. The people of Ningo Prampram know that the safest pair of hands is Sam George because it's about track records. And that's why I said, I've shown you his track record. Never completed a term, never carried to term anything that has been handed over to him. You can't entrust even pure water into such a person's hands. But Sam George is a safe pair of hands. I've delivered before, I will deliver again.
My last question. And the question is about what is in it for the delegates that you are putting these words before. What is in it for them if you are elected as Member of Parliament candidates or a parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the NDC?
Well, they know that even when it comes to the presidential, we are all rooting, and Ningo Prampram is giving President Mahama 100%. And the reason we're doing that is because we're picking experience over experiment. I mean, you have a gentleman who is saying that, try me, even though we've tried him several times and we've seen his failure. But we know that President Mahama represents the safest pair of hands for us in the presidential candidate race. It's the same way. Sam George is the safest pair of hands. I have got the experience. I have shown that I am ready to learn on the job. And I mean, the delegates know that I have always been a ready and willing ear. I've always been a willing ally to fight and champion their cause. Come 2025, under the next NDC administration of President John Mahama, God willing, I would continue to be that voice for the people of this country and the people of Ningo Prampram in that government, ensuring that they get their fair share of development, ensuring that they get their own fair share of human capital development. And I made sure that President Mahama made that promise in my constituency when he visited us 2 Fridays ago, that the people of Ningo Prampram will get their fair share under his watch. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you even watch the tapes, President Mahama, in introducing us, didn't even know the gentleman's name. He couldn't even pronounce his name because that's the level of familiarity that exists. Zero. Okay, but I have a certain record. 10 years ago, I was appointed by President Mahama as his communication specialist. So my abilities are known by him. I was appointed to the board of the National IT Agency. So I have a track working experience with President Mahama. And so if President Mahama is our best bet to rescue Ghana, who better in Ningo Prampram at this point in time than Sam George? And I believe that the people of Ningo Prampram and the delegates absolutely have confidence in the work that I will do and the delivery that I will bring to the table. And I will not let them down, by God. So help me God.
Samuel Nate George is one of the leading contenders for the NDC primaries that is going to be convened across the country. And he's, again, standing as incumbent alongside Michael Tete Quitty as those individuals who want to be on the ballot sheet.
You know, I'm getting messages that I've left out a lot of the things we've done. I've connected 9 communities to electricity, even though it's not my party in government. I mean, there's been loads of stuff we've done. Like I said, sorry I had to butting it. I'm just going through my phone and seeing a lot of messages. People from communities saying, we've done this, we've done that, you've done this for us. Please talk about it. You know, and these are all delegates, you know.
You're out of debate. So that's it. This morning's edition of Constituency Watch right here on TV3 New Day. We do encourage you always get interactive. And before we get to the 13th of May 2023, we promise you we will bring you another edition of Constituency Watch right here on TV3 New Day.